guys not commenting already? Yeah, started from. He's out. So, dude, you'll have to move from this side. Thank you.
I hate being short.
Okay guys, we are back and our first climber is on the route. This is Madan and he is on boulder number 1.
We have Preetham Bib 46 on route 1.
So one thing that's different from bouldering to lead is in bouldering we have specific start holes. So on that start holes there are 4 tapes, so he needs to have all 4 of his limbs on, and so far looking strong from Madan.
Very strong.
So this is Madan's first attempt and it looks like he could have a top here. So in bouldering your attempts
This is
do
called
matter.
a flash attempt.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is his
So your
first ever
first attempt is your flash attempt, and that's the highest number of points you could get is getting it on your
Oh, and he slipped
so
off
and
on
a-
the second to last hole.
yeah, and a scary looking fall there from Madan. So what he was trying there was a figure 4. So he was trying to get his leg
Yes.
over his arm because that ending hole looks quite bad.
It does. It's hard to match on it. He had his right hand on it momentarily,
On your
but then he
mark, ready.
thought
Yeah,
better of
yeah.
it, and he had to shift his
L-
body.
looks
to
like a
position
shallow
better.
dish at the best.
Shallow
So,
dish.
Yeah,
That's
so
what we're gonna
it's a
call
tough
it.
match for sure. So
If
the-
you're just tuning in, we are live streaming the Boulder Men's Finals here at the South Zonals competition in India, happening in Bangalore.
Yeah, the 27th South Zonals competition. So, for those of you who don't know, in the Boulder Finals, each competitor, each athlete has 4 minutes, and within those 4 minutes, they can have as many attempts as they want. But as you can see, Madan is taking time to rest because
We have no
These are very physically challenging
Yeah,
routes.
yeah.
It takes a
So-
lot out of the athletes,
on
and he has a whole
route
4
1.
minutes
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
to
So,
the top.
so Madan knows that he made it till the last move in his last attempt. So he is going to wait as long as he can for his next attempt. So he wants to be as fresh as possible because he knows that last hole is not easy to match on.
And he had it. Like
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was, his flash attempt was amazing. He just couldn't match on the last hole.
Yeah, so he's
So-
clearly pumped, shaking it out, taking his time.
Looking at the clock that is facing him, we can't really see it.
So there will be a buzzer that goes off when a minute is left on his time.
Climbers take position.
So how this is going to work is the format is
Ready.
we are going to see each climber climbing one by one on the first boulder, and then we're going to see the second, third and fourth. So right now we have the first climber on our first boulder.
Madan gearing up for his second attempt on boulder number 1. As you can see, all 4 of his limbs have to start on the first starting hold.
Yeah,
And
so
then progress
so a little bit of
forwards.
a sit down he has to do on that first hold. So this looks like our slab wall
Climbers
actually.
take position.
Actually, it has a slight incline from what I can
Very
see.
slight.
Yeah.
Ready.
So he's got to get that 4th foot to touch, and he does that. And that is a valid takeoff. So he's off.
He's off. He's got the beta down. It's just
So-
will he be able to match on that last
Yeah.
hold?
Another thing is you see that hole, it has zone written next to it. So zone is another way you can score points. So reaching the zone is a way to score points. So you have number of attempts to reach zone and number of attempts to reach top. So Madan has taken 1 attempt to reach the zone, and this is his second attempt of topping the route.
Trying a very precarious toe hook there.
Yeah,
Thought
yeah.
better of it.
Looks like he has no idea how to match this hold. He seems absolutely confused.
He's
This-
taking a
this
little bit of
reminds
a
me of a
breather.
route setter in Equilibrium who is famous for setting routes where the last hold is
Next,
really bad.
Bib 72
Wonder who that is.
on route 1 and Arya Mandala Bib 60 on route 2.
So
He's trying a
Madan,
figure
yeah,
4
he's-
again?
He's trying a bunch of different things, but it seems like he's pretty confused about how to finish this route. Yeah, and so looks like Madan will walk off before the 4 minutes is done. So he's saving his energy probably for the
Yes,
next
which is
routes.
which might, I think in other sports it's considered like giving up,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
in climbing it's like it's smart. You
Yeah.
know what your limits are.
Gotta
Don't
save
push
your
it.
energy.
They have 3 more routes to climb.
So simultaneously is the junior girls is also going on. So that's what you're seeing.
Climbers take position.
So we're now waiting for our next and our next climber is Bharat Gowda, who's coming out
On your
to
mark.
the first route.
Ready.
Bharat on route number 1
So
now.
this is Bharat Gowda, also known in the community as Bharat Beast, for his truly beastly level of climbing. So far comfortable on the start. Working his way up to the zone. Again, this doesn't look too challenging for our strong climbers.
Our athletes have had 4 minutes of observation time that they've completed and discussed beta with each
Yeah.
other. And now I think they're pretty...
So Bharat feeling
Pretty
around
strong.
for maybe a small edge which he can find a crimp on. But this definitely looks like a challenging top for the climbers.
It does. And everyone's just struggling on that last, matching on that last hold.
Doesn't seem like there's much there at all. Bharat's trying to crimp on the small little screw holes that you find on the holes. So in bouldering, anything on the wall, unless explicitly stated, is valid on the route.
I think if they don't want to use it, they will have to tape it off.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it
yeah.
is legal to use anything on the wall.
Climbers take position.
So Bharat looking equally confused as our last climber about finishing this route.
Ready.
So Bharat also made his zone in the first attempt. So currently
Yes.
Bharat and Madan are placed at the same position in first place. But we still have a lot of climbers to go. And 3 more routes as well.
He's looking pretty
A
tired.
confused
And
look
he looks
from
like he
Bharat.
doesn't know what
Yeah.
else to attempt.
Yeah.
Is there like a little crimp on that black hole that we're missing that we can't see from this angle? Or do you think it's just shiny all the way?
So the last hold looks like it's a dual text hole. So
Yes.
the entire outer part is very slippery. And the inner part looks like a very
Climber's worst
shallow
nightmare.
dish with a little bit of friction. And the route is not a slab route actually. There is a slight overhang, so matching on a very shallow hole like that is not easy at all.
With no footholds either.
Yeah. The thing is, like, the climbers have got to figure out some kind of a body positioning and some way to place their hips so that it allows them to match, but it's definitely easier said than done, especially on a hole like
Yes.
this.
Bharat looks like he has an idea.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can do
I
it.
mean, he's going to give it another shot. Let's see what happens.
Climbers are really breezing through the rest of this route though. Doesn't seem to be posing a problem for any of them.
So, Krish, one of our junior climbers who climbed earlier today, he's giving some. So he's had that hold in one of his routes. So he's saying that the hold can feel a little better once you get both your hands on it. But yeah, looks like none of these climbers have been able to get both their hands on it yet.
No, it doesn't.
So even Bharat looking equally confused as Madan, taking
And a
some
little
time.
bit pumped, I think.
Now take position.
So what Bharat is using is liquid chalk actually, and that's a little bit different from our powder chalk. So it's kind of like a liquid which he's going to spread all over his hands, and let's say in about 15 to 20 seconds it dries in and it coats your hand in chalk.
What is the difference between liquid and
Liquid, I'd say you would only use liquid chalk in a boulder round because it kind of gives you that time. In that time when it's taking to dry, you think about it, you shake off your hands, you just calm your nerves a little bit.
Okay.
Obviously on a lead route you can't squirt some chalk on your hands and wait till it dries. So yeah, but he's
But
also
he's using
some
both
chalk.
types of chalk, and I've seen
Yeah. So he's
a
trying
lot
to
of
get as
professional
much
athletes do
friction
this.
as possible as he can from his hands.
Especially, I think as you progress this route, you will lose a lot of that chalk, and by the
Yeah.
time you get to the last hold, it's going to be quite slippery. Fully campusing that move there.
Yeah, so this is Bharat's third attempt on the match. He's trying a heel hook. Oh,
Not
so
quite.
Bharat is trying to more of gast on the hold, which is kind of like a pushing kind of outwards on it while his shoulder is up in the air rather than pulling down. So he's trying something else, seeing if he can match maybe, but
Yeah,
Doesn't
he's
look easy.
seeing if he has
Yeah.
enough time for another attempt.
so looking like Bharat is done as well with this route. He's walking off. So our next climber out now looks like Vishak. Yeah.
Bouldering finalists are B. Ganga Vaishnavi Nath.
We have Vishak on the wall here. For qualifying rounds, he placed 4th.
Vishak.
Yeah. So the qualifying rounds were actually incredibly tight. So. So
There's a lot of confusion even among the climbers
Yeah,
themselves
yeah,
as to
about-
like the rankings.
Yeah.
Shayla on route 2.
So climbers are currently coming in the order of the climber who qualified last comes in first, and the climber who qualified first comes in last. So we're seeing Vishak.
Another
matching.
campus. A campus is when you only use your hands
Yeah,
to move
and,
from one hole to another.
Vishak is really strong with his upper body.
He is, as we saw in his lead finals,
Yeah, yeah.
which happened yesterday.
So now Vishak makes the zone on his first try as well, and now he's trying for the top.
Again, struggling
Yeah,
to
yeah,
find any
searching
grip
around the hole,
on that
searching
hold.
for any kind of place where he could match.
Looking confused.
Yeah. It's not an easy match for sure. Yeah, and Vishak looking a little
Again.
bit better, gets both his hands up, but still a confused look on his face when he gets down.
All the climbers looking so confused about this
Yeah.
last move on this route. The crowd
but,
really hyping him up.
Vishak looked a little close, at least, he got
Yes.
one of his hands up maybe.
Mhm.
There's a chance for a match here, let's see. But he's going to take a good rest before he goes again. Yeah, Vishak choosing to brush on his own. So climbers can do that. And brushing is very important when it comes to bouldering, because as climbers
Absolutely.
climb, the chalk on the hole builds up, and you really want to get as much chalk off, because too much chalk on a hole can make it slippery.
It's a fine balance, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. You want to have a lot of chalk on your hands and not too much chalk on the holes.
Vishak considering when he should get on his second attempt.
So it doesn't look like it pumped him out too much, but it does look like he wants to be as fresh as possible for the attempt.
Yes. I think it's also just like buying time for him to think about how he's going to complete that route.
Yeah, yeah. The thing is about this match, it doesn't look like there is a limit to how creative you can get,
Yeah.
Take position. On your mark. Ready.
Vishak on his second attempt. Will he be able to match that last hold?
Yeah.
As
So
you can
Vishak
hear, the
going for his second
atmosphere in the stadium is buzzing. The crowd is very hyped. It has been a long day, but we still have a lot to go, and the crowd, I think, is just like they're getting their energy back slowly.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see what Vishak tries this time.
Next we have Marasyu.
So Vishak trying to crimp the outer edge of the hole there, but
I think
doesn't
there's a
seem
screw
like
there
it's
that we can't
working.
really see.
Yeah, yeah.
21 on route 2.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what the climbers are going to try for this, because
What is he holding on
really
to?
hard. Yeah. Doesn't seem like there's
Not
much.
quite. Also, a very risky fall.
Yeah.
I think he has scratched something on his finger there. The brusher's back at it.
Yeah,
Vishak looking very confused.
Yeah, yeah. So he's down to wondering about what to do.
On your mark. Ready.
You can see the athletes glancing at the clock from time to time. They have 4 minutes for as many attempts as they want.
So that was just the buzzer going off for the 1 minute remaining.
72 on route 1. And Arya Bandala on
This 4 minutes might seem like a lot to us, but I guess when you are up there, that 4 minutes goes by real fast.
And you can see it count
Yeah.
down as well, right in front of you.
Yeah.
And you're already so physically strained.
So Vishak going for the match again. The rest of the route has seemed real easy for our competitors.
Trying that little screw match again,
So
and
really strong
not
on his shoulder
quite.
there. But
That's
Yeah.
it for Vishak today.
Vishak too walking out before the timer ends, deciding that it's not worth it. And next up we have
Next
Nikhil.
members in bouldering finalists are Nikhil Abhay Abraham from men and Rak from girls.
So let's see how Nikhil approaches this match. Because I think, I don't think reaching the zone is really a question for
Ready?
most of these guys.
Go.
He's just thinking a little bit about how to do the start, So until he gets both his feet off the ground, it isn't considered an attempt.
There you go. All
Yeah.
4 of his limbs need to touch
So
the
there's
starting
his-
hold
yeah,
before
yeah.
he can progress.
Ready?
So there's his first attempt which has started. He's doing it a
Yes.
little bit differently. So as you could see, the other climbers started with their hips facing the other way. So it was a little bit easier. But right now he's kind of reaching blind to the hold.
I do feel like this kind of a start is best suited for shorter climbers, which I am proud to say I am. Which I'm not usually proud to say
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
for this very occasion, I'm like, yes, I was made for that.
Yeah, so Nikhil hasn't reached the zone in his first attempt. So that's our first, we have the other 3 climbers who got the zone on the first attempt. But looks like Nikhil has figured it out his way. Let's see.
And he's
Yeah, a
made
little
it
bit of a
past.
struggle, but he
Mhm.
made it work.
And he'll have memorized that move now, so the next time it's going to be very breezy.
Yeah, so Nikhil is actually the youngest of the men competitor. He's just 17, so this is his first year as a
Now we have
climbing in the men's
Yes.
category.
on route 2.
But a very strong climber.
Fresh
for
talent, but so strong. We saw him in lead again yesterday, lead finals.
Yeah.
Very strong climber.
So Nikhil's a little bit on the taller side. So you can see he didn't
It's
have
kind of
to-
looking impossible that anyone's going to be able to match that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if anybody really is able to match on that hold.
Minus bib number 61, Arush 63.
Yeah, and as viewers, we're probably going to think that the climber could do this and the climber could do that. But when you're up there, trying
Totally
different
different
things,
story.
there are a limited number of things which actually work when you're there. So,
But it is fun
yeah,
to just fantasize
Yeah.
that we could finish that route.
of course, yeah. And doesn't look like so far we've seen climbers being able to try anything really different here. It looks pretty straightforward that, you've just got to find a way to somehow
Yes.
match on that hole. I don't know what they could do with their feet that might make a difference, but I guess we're going to see because we have some amazing climbers who
Incredible
still have to
climbers
come.
coming up, yeah. And looking at this route, I think it's designed to confuse you. Like every single move I think is pretty easy until you get to that last
Yeah,
hold.
yeah.
And once you get there, you're like, oh no, what's going on?
Just a little bit of chalk before he moves up. So the kind of taping Nikhil has is actually specifically for his wrists because on holes that you see his hand is on right now, those are called slopers.
And they might look like they have a lot of friction on them.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
don't. It's all about finger and palm strength
Yeah,
and friction.
And they're very wrist intensive
Uh-huh.
slopers. You really feel them on your wrists. Unlike a crimp where it's more fingers and
Yes. You can see the chalk building up on that last hold.
yeah. And Nikhil again
Fingerprints everywhere.
not looking like he's making much progress in the match. And it looks
No.
like he's walking out as well.
He's going to try his luck on the rest of the 3 routes where anything could happen.
Yeah. So it's so far the same story on the first route. A fairly easy climb till the zone and then what looks like an impossible match.
Yes. Up next, we have Bharat Pereira. He ranked 2nd in the qualifying round.
Yeah.
And he has been national champion several times over now.
And last year's national bouldering champion
Yes.
actually. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see. We have still Bharat and Loki left to climb.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be
There he
interesting to see
is.
if either one of them can figure out this
Yeah.
match.
Girls, Amni Agarwal
I'm really hoping somebody can top
Men-
this. Do you think that the route setters will be disappointed that nobody did this or happy? Is that like a mark of
I
like,
mean, ideally,
yeah, I did it?
ideally you want, as a route setter, you definitely want to challenge the climbers. And I don't think it's necessarily about not wanting the climbers to do it. I think it's about, witnessing their journey of how they figure out how to climb these routes.
Mm-hmm.
this specific route, it's hard to say what they were thinking when they put that kind of a hold for a match.
Yes.
Bharat
Bharat
with the heel, and he's very
started
good
off
with
in a
his
very different position than the rest of the climbs that we saw.
And he is usually like that. Bharat touching
Again,
the hold, not having much
confused about this
purchase off of
last
it. Yeah,
hold.
feeling around.
We
So
have
Bharat
Loki
trying
versus
something
Gaurav.
similar to Madan, but not finding much purchase on that either.
There's just no surface to grab onto on that hold.
Yeah. So Bharat really struggling to find a way to match on this hold, using his feet
Using
really
a
well.
very strong heel hook
And Bharat
there.
is absolutely fantastic with his feet and his hips. Like, for somebody who's so tall,
Oh,
he is
not
so
quite.
good with getting his hips really close to the wall, really square. He has fantastic mobility, which is
He
something
really
that I've
does.
seen. Yeah.
Climbers take position.
Looking very, very confused, just like the rest of our athletes.
Yeah, a confused feeling for this, for this first route, about what the route setters were really thinking when they decided to put this kind of a top. But
They knew what they were doing.
yeah, I guess let's, there are 3 more routes to go, and
Yes.
it's going to be interesting to see how the climbers deal with this, since most of them have reached the zone on their first attempt. So, and we still have 1 climber to go, and we still have, Baba's attempts to go, but
Yes.
it's going to mean they're going to go into the next route with the same points. So
Absolutely.
the next 3 routes are going to be really important in our points to see who
very,
actually...
very important. If you missed our last live stream, we had broadcasted the speed finals for men and women, where we did explain that Bharat is called affectionately called Baba in the climbing community.
And I should add that route setting is definitely not easy. When you get things right, people are happy, and when things don't work out, obviously...
They're like, it's too hard.
Yeah. So I think...
He's trying a chin
so
bar.
there he really...
That was amazing.
Really experimenting over there. I think that was a head... that was him trying to use his head over there.
Would that be called a chin bar? What would that be
don't know.
called? I've
A
never
head
seen that
jam,
move.
yeah.
Yeah.
a chin hook. Who knows?
A chin hook.
Yeah.
I like that.
So Baba really
Not able to
trying
find...
everything to try and figure out how he can do this match. But yeah, it is not easy. Yeah.
Not easy at all. I hope he goes for the chin hook again. That was very entertaining.
Yeah, and it's great that our athletes can find good humor despite everything.
Absolutely. He looks pretty calm and collected.
Yeah, Baba, he always looks
This
like
is
he's having
his,
fun.
his game to win, I'd say. Looking exhausted and confused.
Shaking out that bum, trying to figure out what he could possibly do, how he could do something differently to try and figure out a match. So that's the buzzer for a minute left here. He's going to give it maybe 1 or 2 more tries. Let's see what he decides. But I think probably if he doesn't get it on this attempt, he might want to save his energy for the other 3 routes.
For the boys.
But as we know, his endurance is like unbeatable.
Yeah.
So he'll probably be fine.
The category is VHSM.
So
With number
Baba
22.
pushing hard on that gas ton,
Not
but it
quite.
slips out.
With
Yeah.
number 37 on route 2.
He's attempting one last attempt, I think, before the buzzer runs out. We have less than a minute.
Looks like he doesn't want to quite give up. So, that's a good sign. Feels like he might feel that he's close if he's giving it attempt, because you could see him look at the clock, go for another try. Cause it
He's
feels
rushing
like
his way through this, but very efficiently.
Yeah, so maybe we might have a top here. Let's wait and see. So really pulling. Oh,
Not quite.
Yeah.
And
and that's time up there.
that's
And
it
Baba
for Bharat.
trying to the last second there, which is good to see.
Mhm.
Yeah, here's
We have
our last.
Loki out.
Yeah.
He ranked first in the qualification rounds this
Yeah,
morning.
So a good qualifying round for Loki.
Very good.
On your mark. Ready.
Will we see a top on this route today?
Loki, one of our shorter climbers. I don't think the start should be too much of a challenge for him.
No, he's also been working on his
you could
mobility.
see how open those hips were.
Yes,
on that
he's
start.
been taking yoga lessons. He's been telling everybody who will listen. And you can see it. You can see it in his climbing.
So Loki gets the heel up, going for the zone, and he gets the zone on his first attempt. Loki reaching the penultimate moment of this route.
Yes. The one and only crux.
Thinking about the heel,
And Ritik Sriram on route 2, bib number 74.
trying.
All of our athletes
something.
have been really,
So
really
here's the
struggling on
figure
this.
4 that we saw Madan trying. Here's Loki trying it as well. Wrapping his leg
Will he be
around
able to
that
release his
hold
arm from
over
under there?
Yeah.
Not quite.
A
Great
smile
first
from
attempt,
Loki
though.
about
He knows he's got this.
yeah, but it is good to see our athletes trying so hard, you know.
It really is. And they're all being such good sports about it. Of course, it's so much pressure, but also it's
Yeah.
a very community-based sport. Loki really taking his time and considering how he's going to finish this route.
Yeah, so I don't think over here time isn't really an issue. It doesn't look like an issue for the climbers. It's just about figuring out how they could possibly match on that hold, how they could place their feet and their hips.
Or their chin.
Bib number 46 on route 1. And Manasyu, bib number 71 on route 2.
It's really also not illegal to use any part of your body
Yeah,
to complete
yeah,
a climb.
most definitely.
And it's so exciting when somebody does break beta, which is like the intended way to
Yeah.
finish a route.
I mean, I remember seeing this one IFSC competition where absolutely there wasn't a single athlete who could figure out how to do the route. And after the competition, a couple of them came and, the route setters actually showed them how to do the route. And then, they figured out that it wasn't that hard. So, who knows?
It's all about technique.
Yeah.
Position.
But I just wonder, how many things there are to try in such a situation.
Ready.
Again, going for that very strong heel hook.
With the heel up high where his hand is. And there's that mobility we were talking about.
Yes.
Oh,
But it's tricky.
yeah, that heel just pops out. So Loki feeling
You can see
around for
every single
something,
fingerprint.
anything.
Where every other athlete has been trying to find some purchase on that hold.
Yeah. So this is our last athlete on this route actually. So after this we'll see the next climber coming out on men's too. And Loki too looks like a similar story for all of our athletes. Looks like
Next we have Lohit.
Still trying to figure it out.
Number 58 on
picking up
route
his chalk bag. I'm thinking whether he's looks like he wants to give it another
number
attempt.
21 on route 2.
Shaking the pump out just a little bit. Keeping in time how much time he has left for another attempt. There's only so many things you can try.
Yeah, of course.
And I feel like all the climbers
Yeah, and I think
coming to
all the
terms with that.
climbers except one made it to the zone on the first attempt. So, yeah. So
Thought
Loki
better of it.
deciding that it's not worth it.
He'll be back for the next one.
Yeah, and
That
the
was-
and the challenge of this, the route might not have been that hard, but climbers spent a lot of time on that last hole trying to figure out the
Yes.
match, and I think that took a lot of energy for a lot of them.
Did. That was round 1 of our Boulder Men's Finals. We will be shortly moving on to the next route.
On your mark. Ready.
We are resuming the Boulder Men's Finals.
Yeah, so we're going to go on route 2.
Route 2 is on a bit of a overhang.
Yeah, yeah.
Quite a steep angle.
So looks interesting.
At least it looks fun. Look at that little smiley face.
Yeah.
That could become menacing, I
There's
think.
a smiley face zone staring down at our climbers.
It is looking more devilish the more I look at it. We have Madhan.
So
as our first
they
climber.
are allowed to put their foot on that wall, which has a... Yeah. So the start looking okay for Madan.
Next we have Sri Shaila. Bib number
So far so good, but that match on that hole doesn't look too easy.
No.
bib number 74.
He's having to
Yeah, he's kind of
change
wrapping his
hands.
fingers around. Looks like he's figured out that match. He's got to go out right now. Yeah, Madan trying for a toe hook,
Struggling a little bit.
seeing if it's gonna work. So Madan falls on his first attempt. So not quite able to figure out how to make the move to the next hold. Just a second, guys. Looks like we're having some technical difficulties. But Madan currently resting. Yeah, Madan still resting, figuring out how he could do it differently. Madan on his second attempt now, reaching out to the orange chip on the hold, matching on the sloper part of the hold. His foot goes out right. This time he's not using his...
He
toe
touched the
hook.
smiley face, but wasn't able to match on it.
Oh, a desperate attempt from Madan.
Mhm.
So Madan not quite able to figure out how to get to the next hold.
Climbers take position. On your
Madan
mark.
resting before his third
Ready?
attempt. It's working, yeah. So
He's
we're
asking
back.
for a
We're back, guys, and
chalk
Madan
brush.
has fallen on his second attempt. Still not quite reaching the zone yet, though. Yeah, Madan asking for a brush. Oh no, looks like they're just screwing in one of the holes again.
I think it was not quite screwed on right. And when Madan held on to it, it moved a little bit.
So I'm not quite sure if Madan has decided to walk off before his attempt, or the work that they're doing has anything to do with the fact that he's walked off. I guess we'll have to find out.
2. And Bharat UK. Bib 21 on
When there is a technical difficulty like this, he should
Yeah.
get a whole second attempt, a whole other 4 minutes.
But
But we'll have to wait and see.
All of them in front. Lekha, everyone's in front.
Climbers take position.
so we are waiting for our next climber to come in while they have some minor adjustments on the route. Just make sure everything is okay for the climbers.
The sub-junior girls finals are also simultaneously taking place.
Looks like the route is ready, and Bharat Gowda is coming in next, aka Bharat Beast.
That's how he goes by in the climbing world and its Instagram handle.
Yeah.
And he is quite a bit of a beastly climber, as Nikhil said before.
So something about Bharat, I think it must have been a year or two back now. He sent the hardest sport climb in India, which is Ganesha, an 8B plus route. And it was a real journey for him. Hundreds of attempts and a lot of dedication and training that he put into that. And I had the privilege of editing that video actually, and
Wow.
seeing the number of falls he took and the amount of dedication he had to have to complete that route was incredible. And what an incredible route it is. That's actually in Badami. So we are just waiting for Bharat to come onto the climb actually.
While we're doing that, tell us a little bit more about Badami. Have you been there?
Yeah. Badami is an incredible sport climbing area, and the great part is it has routes for every type of climber, like from beginners to...
And it's beautiful.
It
I
is a
have seen
beautiful
pictures.
place. So there the speciality is sandstone.
Absolutely.
And it also has these incredible temples which are carved entirely out of the sandstone.
So are you like climbing on top of these temples?
No,
or
that
what's
would
happening?
definitely not be allowed. So the climbing areas are completely separate. And recently there was a fantastic initiative of developing an entirely new crag in Badami. So a lot, over 30 routes, extra routes have been bolted, and they've been bolted with a lot of conscious efforts to bolt routes of a variety of grades and types. So
is it mostly top rope routes?
Yeah,
lead
so
routes?
you have the thing is, top rope, you can either climb a route top rope based on if you can get on top and get your rope on the anchor, or you go with an experienced climber who can lead the route and set up a top rope for you to try it out. So, and the great part is Badami does have an incredible guy called Ravi who's there in Badami actually. So even a beginner climber could go to Badami and they could call this guy called Ravi, and he'll help you out. One of the most humble and strongest climbers you know.
Absolutely.
So the local guy Ravi. If anybody is looking to go to Badami, you should ask some climbers around you.
Absolutely. Also another place that offers Badami and trips to
So looks
Setan.
like Madan is back. So looks like what actually happened is there was something off with the hold. So the route setters have now corrected that, and looks like Madan is going to have another chance at trying this route.
I think he's gonna get awarded the whole 4 minutes back as well.
Yeah. I think he's going to
It's a
have
brand
whole...
new attempt.
So Madan on his first attempt. Yeah, there he is. And he's got to the first hold. Yeah, getting to that, and again matching on the sloper, getting his foot up and reaching the zone. So this is technically
Pretty easy.
considered...
Ooh, that
So actually
that he has-
that's not correct what I just said. Looks like the zone is taped specifically to that yellow hold which he just tried to bump to, which would be the nose of the smiley face.
yes. But that was quite
Quite
an
a fall.
attempt.
Yeah.
And a fall. And I think now he's had a little bit more time to think about how he's going
Yeah.
to complete this route, which is just a technical issue which kind of
So looks like
worked
Madan
in
is
his
also
favor.
a little hungry.
Yeah, what's going
Asking
on?
his friends, could you maybe get me something to eat? You need that energy, while you're climbing. And Madan walking off. So looks like we're not entirely sure, but I don't think he had his entire 4 minutes.
No.
I think he had a certain amount of time.
And I think he's quite hungry,
Yeah, that's for sure.
as he signaled to his friends to bring him some food.
So this is Adia Pai actually, junior girls working her way on the
Very, very strong.
first girls route, which also happens to be the first men's route, slightly adjusted.
Quite a fall there.
And that's the buzzer for a minute left. So after the end of that minute, I think we'll be seeing our next climber coming on for the men's 2 route.
Absolutely. As I was saying before, if you would like to go to Setan or Badami, there is a place that takes you. It's called Boulderbox, which is a climbing station based out of Delhi. A lot of our boys who are bouldering in this very competition, like Bharat and Vishak,
Yeah.
have trained there, specifically for the nationals, and it's such a good facility.
Yeah.
Have you been there before?
I actually have not, but I've seen and heard a lot about it. And
you said you've been following them on Instagram for a
Yeah,
while, so
yeah.
you're like very, very well rehearsed.
and
with
they do
everything-
have
all of their facilities.
they reset their routes a lot, every other week. So you're constantly entertained. You
Yes.
have
And
new
they have
routes
some of
to
the best
try.
route setters and climbers in the country
Yeah,
working
yeah.
there.
And
So
their
it's
wall
always
is-
challenging.
The wall is designed really well. So you have a lot of different styles of climbing based on the kind of wall you have in your gym.
Absolutely. We have Bharat that's just walked on.
So Bharat beast now on men's 2. Here he is observing the route. So all this is included in his 4 minutes. So a lot of climbers do choose to take a little bit of time to calm their nerves. So Bharat looking good on the start, getting his leg up.
A strong pinch.
Yeah,
That pinch
Bharat
doesn't look
is-
like much work because they're so strong.
Yeah, so Bharat smartly going with his left hand, using his hips and his feet really well there, and
Extending his arm out.
yeah, Bharat making this look pretty easy now. So let's see how. And Bharat
he has
bumps to
made
the
the
zone. So Bharat
The
is
top
the
zone.
So Bharat is the first climber to get to the zone, but falling right after that. So he has gotten points for getting the zone on his first attempt. Now let's see if he can make his way to the top.
Yes. As you can see, it's quite a big incline.
Not an easy route, but looks interesting. Looks like we'll have more of a fight from our climbers for this route. So resting before his third attempt, his second attempt. So you can see how well Bharat could use his feet and his hips to get up there. So not looking like he was really having to reach or struggle too much on any
No.
of those moves. So Bharat is really good with his toe hooks, his heel hooks, and using his feet and hips efficiently on the wall.
Absolutely. He's looking pretty confident as well. Just trying to make his way through that next move. That smiley face is looking more daunting now than ever.
Yeah. Yeah, so Bharat just gearing up for his second attempt now. Took a good long rest because he did make good progress on his first attempt, and
He
he
did.
looked quite comfortable through the initial parts of the route.
I'm not sure if I saw that right, but I think the first hold also moved just a little bit when he
Yeah.
grabbed it there.
Yeah, so comfortably moving through the route. Bharat bumping to the zone, getting his heel up, slips
And
out.
not quite.
So not quite sure actually about
As I
where
said,
you
it
go
did
next,
move.
yeah,
He's
it's-
signaling to the route setters that the first hold moved. I'm also pretty sure that the smiley face moved a little bit when he grabbed it.
Yeah, so could be, Yeah, so it's hard to say, what really are the moves next, because judging from the looks of the route, I'm not sure if the eyes of the smiley face are there just for the aesthetics or if they're actually usable.
I think
so
they're like mostly there for the aesthetic, but I'm sure someone's gonna use them.
I guess we'll find out. But again, some adjustments happening on the route.
Yep.
So not sure if Bharat actually reached his 4 minutes there, or if he's gonna have to come back after they've worked a little bit on it.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the setters just making some minor adjustments, adding some more screws. So these larger holes, unlike your smaller holes, they don't work with your normal bolts. They have individual screws and screw holes which you use to attach the holes to the wall. So you definitely do not want your holes to be moving around when you're climbing on them. So we are waiting again to see what exactly is going to happen here. Maybe Bharat might be coming back on, or we might have our next climber.
If you can see, this route has been modified for the junior women's, and now, as if you can see the starting tape holds,
Yeah, and there's a little foothold as well right there on the bottom of
you
the
only
volume.
need 3 limbs on that first starting
Yeah, so-
hold.
and you can really see how hard those slopers are, when we see them trying. the men did make it look a lot easier, and it is a lot more suited to their style of climbing. But you can see now that it is definitely not an easy route per se, but a harder finish.
Absolutely.
So Bharat returning again for his next attempt. So not sure how exactly they log these attempts, if at all they log the attempt where his whole moves, but I'm assuming that they won't be logging that attempt.
Yes. He's had a lot more time to think about
So
how he's
then
going
this
to do
should
this
be
move,
his
though.
second attempt. Again, Bharat looking comfortable on these moves, using his feet really well, positioning them so that these moves
Very
are looking...
strong toe hook, which slipped off a little bit at the end there.
Yeah, so the move's looking pretty easy for Bharat, but not doing
He's
it the
not able
same
to
way that he
release
did
his
it before.
hands
So
from
no.
before.
So on this go, it looks like he didn't. He looked to get a heel before bumping to the zone.
I think his fingers got stuck under his heel. He wasn't quite
Yeah.
able to release it.
So one important thing is, right, in a boulder, since you have only 4 minutes and like you may have a lot of attempts, but you only have so much gas in the tank, right? So it's about, first of all, committing to whatever method you've chosen to climbing the boulder, because if you do a different method on every attempt, you don't really have the chance to see, there does have to be some level of experimentation, but at some
Yes.
point you've just got to choose a method and just commit to that.
And 4 minutes might look like a lot to us just watching,
yeah.
but when you're on the wall,
Yeah, so Bharat
It's gonna
clearly
be
is a little
very little
tired by
time.
now, The move that was looking a little bit easier, you can see his feet are cutting out, and that wastes a lot of energy when your feet cut out like that. So his core tension not holding quite as strong as it did on his first 2 attempts. And that is despite the rest that he got as well. So let's see how his next attempt goes. He's giving it some good rest.
shaking the pump out a little bit, getting ready for his next attempt.
So Bharat was telling me actually he didn't have a lot, or he hasn't really trained at all for these for this zonals, because actually he got married around like a week or 2 ago. So
Oh, really?
for a whole month, maybe 2, he was really busy with that. So this strong climber that you're seeing is somebody who hasn't really had a lot of time to train, and
My
despite
God.
that,
He's been killing it.
and scary looking fall, but he's okay.
Especially during wedding time, I feel like you're eating a lot of food.
Yeah.
You're just being
So Bharat
very
walking
unhealthy,
off,
but in the best way. And yet,
Yeah.
he's killing it out here.
Yeah, and so you can see Vishak is just about ready to come on as well, our next climber, on the second boulder. Brushers are just...
Giving it a good brush.
Yeah. So that's Vishak reaching the mat, and he is seeing the route, maybe...
Bouldering final is Amni Agarwal from girls.
So Vishak just making sure all the holes are brushed well.
Men.
Hoping
It's such
for
a fine
yeah,
balance.
Hoping for a flash here from Vishak, but let's see how it goes.
Very strong start. He was telling me that he loves pinches.
Yeah.
So
Vishak is
he's probably very happy about this route.
Yeah, Vishak has strong fingers, no
Ooh,
doubt.
little
And
bit of a slip
choosing
there.
to come back down and go with the left hand, a smart move. Yeah, so far so good. Looking comfortable from Vishak. And a little hesitation over there about how exactly to go for the move.
Ooh,
but
and he's held
he
on.
is strong enough to stay on. And Vishak on the final move here
didn't
gets
quite make
real
the
close. Gets real close.
But he did make the zone in his first attempt.
Yeah, he knows. You can see from his look that
Mhm.
he thinks he should have got it. So he's probably going to give it a good rest and, go for the top. So let's see. Hopefully he can get it.
I think he's got it.
Yeah, so again, our second climber, Bharat, he got to the zone. The first climber, Madan, wasn't able to reach the zone. So currently, and Vishak has reached the zone as well. So
Mhm.
currently, our standings are Bharat and Vishak.
Tied.
Between the two of them,
Yeah.
first or second place. So if Vishak can make the top here, he can put himself in a good position for the rest of the comp.
Giving it a good think.
So
But
Vishak,
that
yeah,
last top hold looked very much within his reach.
yeah,
I think he's
yeah.
got it in this attempt.
So chalking up and
Now we have
ready
the
for his
first
second
round
attempt.
for junior boys. Arya, bib number 60 on route 1.
So not looking quite
And,
as confident, but
bib number 22
looking
on
like he
route
can
He's
make
got
it
these
to
moves
the top.
down.
Yeah. Oh,
That
so
was
strong.
one
so
hell of a
strong
bump
from
right
Vishak.
there.
Oh, even
Ooh.
closer.
I think his foot slipped. What do you think happened there?
I think he hasn't quite. I think it looks like this attempt was better than the last.
Mhm.
So it looks like he has figured out how to reach it, and now it's just a question of, everything working out, doing the bottom section as efficiently as possible. So he has the energy for that jump and to catch
Absolutely.
it. So he's really got to work on focusing on those bottom moves and being calm when he has to go for the finish.
Mhm.
So Vishak waiting a little bit for his third attempt, having a glance at the clock. So hopefully if everything comes together, I think Vishak has a good chance right now to get a top.
The winner
Yes.
of this round
His first two attempts have been very strong.
So setting himself up, gets his left hand up. The match.
Gearing up to pinch that dreaded
Oh,
smiley face.
he
and
goes
no!
straight for the zone. I'm not sure if he did that last attempt.
He bumped
as
his
well.
hand up from the smile.
So Vishak going for
To
a
the
little
nose.
bit of a different beta when he knows already what he's doing. So you can sense a little bit of
Mhm.
frustration from him, and maybe I think the problem is when you can do it, those
Yes.
expectations really build up.
Yeah, I think that the last time he bumped his hand up very, very quickly from the smile of the
Yeah,
smiley face to
yeah.
the nose, and he knows that was very physically taxing.
Yeah,
So maybe he
yeah.
tried to skip one hold out, and that's what we just saw. Didn't quite work out.
Yeah, so that is important, when something has been working for you and you have been doing it, to try and keep it the same, like climb it the same way. So Vishak really taking his time now to figure it out and give it his best shot. And let's
Mhm.
hope for a top here from Vishak. So Vishak not really choosing to chalk up much for this attempt. And
Yes,
looks,
I was also just gonna say
looks
that.
like he is climbing a little fast because of his time. And
And he's done it,
Vishak,
yep.
this time he does it the same way. Oh, and he
again,
slips
he's fallen
off.
right off.
So that was Vishak's last attempt, and
A commendable
great,
effort, though.
Yeah, a great effort
Yes,
from Vishak.
absolutely.
I think he got really close. So it's going to be interesting to see now how Nikhil does on this boulder.
Mhm. This is Nikhil Abraham, our youngest
Yeah,
athlete
a young
for
crusher.
the Boulder Men's Final. Let's see if he's able to do it. We've seen some very strong performances from Nikhil
Yeah, and
this whole competition.
Nikhil does have an advantage in the sense that he is a taller climber. So while the crouchier moves where he has to get his legs up might be a
Yes,
little harder.
we did see him struggle quite a bit on the first.
But that jump will technically
route.
be a little bit closer. Yeah, Nikhil choosing. Yeah, so you can see he might. And matching on that hold there. Looks like he's not
thought
quite
better of
able to
it.
match. So he comes down and goes back with the left. We've seen several climbers do that now. But for his next attempt.
The toe hook seems to be a default.
Yeah.
There's
and
no other way to get there.
So Nikhil thinking about whether or not he should release that toe for the bump. And he does choose to.
Didn't quite make that
But not
pinch.
quite sticking it yet. But I think he should be a lot more confident for his second attempt. Because he knows he has to go first with the left hand. So he'll be able to save some energy for that. So it is definitely a process, you know, like once you reach this boulder, you might think that, you know, that it should be done like this or and trying
Yes.
to figure out. We're just having a little bit of technical difficulties here, but Nikhil hasn't gotten on yet for his second attempt. So we should be back before that. And
There you go. And we're back. Just in time for his second attempt. So we did not, unfortunately, make the zone on his first attempt. Let's see if he does now.
So there he goes, going to go with the left hand up. Yeah.
More efficient already.
And a foot slip means that he falls down on his second attempt. So Nikhil now kind of taking his time for his third attempt because he's got a. So this is where experience really does play a big role. So climbers like Baba, Loki have a lot of experience in competing.
Yes, you can see his foot slip a little bit there on the wall as
Yeah.
well.
But
Looking
he's
strong in
definitely
that
fighting hard to
up.
get that zone.
Absolutely.
And hopefully he can stick it right now. A little bit confused about how to go about the move. I think
And he's not quite able to hold on to that
Yeah,
pinch. It's
yeah.
quite small. It's quite shallow. I know Vishak made it look very easy.
I think he's trying a little bit to
But
figure
yeah.
out his feet and his hips for the move and where they should be. But doesn't look like he's quite able to stick that as a campus move like Vishak was. And mind you, Vishak is incredibly strong on his fingers. So
Very much so. Like I said, he told me earlier that pinches are one of his favorite holds ever.
yeah.
He's very comfortable on them, and I feel like that showed.
Yeah. So Nikhil now, since he has that extra reach and since his leg is so comfortably able to stay on the toe hook, it looks like when he's at that point of bumping to the zone, he's kind of having this dilemma of whether or not he should release that toe hook or not.
Yes.
So that little bit of a hesitation can really make the difference between sticking a hold or not, because a big part of it is just committing yourself 100% to a move when you do it. Makes a big difference on whether or not you'll stick
He
it.
does seem quite unsure going up to that.
So
I think he's also just not able to
little bit
hold
of
on to that.
hesitation again, and
That hold
looks-
also seems to be moving
Yeah, and-
quite a lot.
Yeah, and Arushi just cruising through that boulder.
Nikhil looking at his time, seeing how much time he has left. And he's going for another attempt.
So let's see if Nikhil is able to. Looks like he's a little tired by now, though. This move is looking progressively a little bit harder, but
He's trying his best to at least get the zone.
yeah. But what a pleasure to see him climb. You know, at 17, he is really able to keep
Absolutely.
up with the experienced climbers who have been competing for a while, and I think progressively in these competitions, it's going to be very interesting to see how he develops as a climber, how his movement gets more confident.
Yes, he still has a long time to go because he's
and-
so young and he's already so strong.
And it's
So-
been a good comp for him. It's been
Yes.
a pleasure to see him climb.
Exactly. In the qualifications round, I think all of the boys, the contestants, were
Yeah,
very
yeah.
confused about the rankings before the final results came out, and everybody was very sure that Nikhil
Yeah,
actually
and,
ranked second,
Yeah, and Nikhil actually qualifying third amongst them, and here-
fourth, I think.
Yeah, and now Baba up. So let's see how Baba does on this route, because seems like something he should, which is well within his capabilities. So let's see him taking a little bit of time, checking the route out. I think one thing you can always sense from Baba is a kind of calmness when he's trying anything.
Yes, I don't think I've ever seen him stressed out. He's always taken everything in his stride and with a light-hearted, fun energy.
Yeah.
Is Bharat.
So you can see the confidence in his movement and the surety with which he goes for things.
Yes. Can he
Going
make
for
the top?
final hold and
he
a
has
flash
held
from
on
Baba. That is
and
incredible.
matched.
Oh,
There you go. He's pumping the crowd up.
and he is a showman at heart.
Bharat Pereira,
We have the final
current national champion.
round.
What a send from Baba. And he just made that look so incredibly
So
easy.
easy.
And this really gives you a perspective, when we have our first few athletes come out and see how they climb it. And Baba just used his feet so well and made that look so easy.
Absolutely.
Arya with number 60.
So
Up next, we have Loki.
So one thing, right? The next athlete who comes in is definitely going to know that he flashed a problem.
Yes.
Because from the reaction of the crowd,
Uh-huh.
from how quickly he came back in, so the pressure now is on Loki. And Loki actually qualified first. So
Pressure's
let's see
really
how he does
on.
here. So he's had a good start to the bouldering round.
Climber on bouldering route to
All right.
men.
Do you think that would have made him more nervous or like a little bit happy that route maybe
I think
is easy?
definitely coming in last does give you a little bit of time to, but I feel the longer you wait, it does feel like a lot of pressure building up. But I think Loki is good with dealing with his nerves.
He is
So Loki now
very
so
strong.
far so good, looking comfortable,
Loki.
but he has to figure out
And
this
a new beater
match.
from him as well.
Oh, and a shadow match. Wow, making that look really easy, and so far looking really strong on the route, Loki, but not quite
bit of
figuring out
hesitation here.
the bump to the next hole. Looks like he's going with his left
I don't
hand.
know how he released his fingers
Wow,
from under
Loki
that heel
with
hook.
an entirely new beta here,
Ooh, and he's
wow,
fallen off.
incredible. Loki just going for a completely different beta for the route, and looks like it did work for him. It looks like
It did.
there's very much a top is possible.
Very much. I think he's gotten his next turn. But we saw a very fresh set of beta from Loki there.
Yeah.
Move that we haven't seen
Yeah,
on
so
this route before.
Yeah, so if Loki finishes this boulder, it should put him in a really good position. Because
Absolutely.
till now there has been only one top on this boulder. So if he gets there, it will be the second top of the boulder. So that'll be good for him. And his first attempt was really good. So he can take his time now,
Yeah.
figure it out, and freshen up and go for a strong second attempt. He has a good chance of topping this.
Yes. So on the black hold, he did a heel hook. But
Yeah.
the hard part about that was like that his fingers were right below his heel.
Yeah.
So he had to somehow coordinate the release of his fingers from under that heel. And I don't know how he did it. And he made it look so easy.
Yeah, he did. And he went cross to the zone, which is something that we haven't seen any of the athletes do. But he made it work, then using the outer part of the volume.
Qualifiers for final, please report to the isolation immediately.
So there is Loki on his second attempt. And Loki's beta has been entirely different than anybody else here. Choosing to match on that hole instead of
Absolutely.
going first to
And
this
he's
left.
making it look so easy.
And Loki not quite able to get his heel up like he did the first time. And spending a little bit of time there, I'm sure that'll make a difference for him. But
Look how
looking strong so far. Wow, and this is just incredible
And he
from
has
Loki.
made the match.
Wow,
That
what
was
a
incredible.
top that was.
It's so hard not to shout out.
That was amazing. And that is in the industry is what we call a beta break. So Loki found an entirely new way to do the problem, but
Yes.
it worked really well for him. So this is one of the fantastic things about climbing, you know. He
There's something
used-
new to see every
Yeah.
second.
and he just used his dimensions, his height, and his body type so well to figure out how to get there. And he moved so confidently.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those yoga lessons also coming in very handy for hip mobility.
And I'm sure that, you know, especially Baba and Loki would have discussed this together about how to do the boulder. And I'm so curious to know about whether this was the beta that Loki actually discussed that he would do, or whether he went there and
I
then
feel like
decided.
they would have discussed it and Loki would have been like, I'm going to do this. And everyone would have gone, that's not possible.
Yeah.
But he's done it
'Cause
with such style and
yeah,
elegance.
pretty much like every move after the first move was completely unique. Which, so what a
So
pleasure to
exciting to
watch.
watch,
yeah.
yeah.
So it looks like a tight competition so far. We have, I guess, Baba and Loki contending for the first place, and we have 2 more boulders left. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yes. Out of these 2 boulders, I think I prefer the second one. That was really fun to watch.
Yeah.
This smiley face is going to give all our contestants
Yeah.
nightmares for days to come, I am sure.
Yeah. And what was so interesting about this boulder was, again, the variety of ways in which it was climbed. And that's always a good sign for a climb, you know,
Absolutely.
when climbers can do it different ways. It's fun to watch. So we're waiting for the third route to start now. So we are back, guys, and Madan is out for the third route. And this looks like a slab route. It's on the slab wall, so it's going to be a little different than our other routes. A little more balance and footwork and a little less power.
Absolutely.
Bouldering finals on Route 3. Mishika
And he's off.
So some delicate footwork required here.
Madan from Men.
So looks like there is a small foothold, a chip on that side, but Madan choosing to stand on the top of that rather slippery looking volume. And Madan, is that a bolt hole he's using there, or is there a hole?
There is a hold, I think, like a tiny little foothold.
On his left hand. I'm not sure whether there's actually a hole there or he's just shoving his finger into a...
So for those of you that don't know, slab is like more technique based
Yeah.
and not at all strength based.
It's a lot of footwork, technique. Like you've got to be in a good mental state to do a slab problem.
It's a
you know.
straight wall.
Yeah, and looks like Madan was just using a bolt hole there, and that is allowed in bouldering. Anything on the wall you can use. So if there is a screw popping out, if the
Yes.
edge of a volume is maybe coming out a little bit, you are allowed to crimp on it. So in this case, Madan is kind of pulling on that bolt hole for a little bit of balance.
Which it looks like something, it is nothing.
Yeah.
It's like negative space almost.
Yeah.
As you can see, the top of that boulder is very high up.
Yeah, so Madan not quite making the zone on his first attempt and kind of taking a little bit of time to think about it. And he's going to go again.
A lot of precise footwork and slow controlled movements required for this route.
Yeah, looks like not quite sure how the route goes after this. And let's see how far Madan is able to go on his second attempt, if he's going to use the same beta or not. Because your first few attempts are when you want to try out maybe a few different betas, and after that you want to maybe settle on something. So again, he's using the bolt hole there to get a little bit of leverage and reaching for the next minuscule handhold. So a small little handhold, and now a very
Tiny.
precarious foot swap, or I'm not sure what he's going to do.
Ooh, that was close,
but it's
he's
now
made
a
it.
difficult position Madan has got himself into. I'm not quite sure how he will figure out how to move from this position. Sometimes you can get yourself
Yeah,
in
he
somewhere,
did
but
seem to be
it's
quite
not
stuck
quite
there.
easy to move from there. So from what it looks like, either Madan is going to have to swap his foot on that skimpy looking foothold, and I'm not quite sure actually. We're going to have to see how he's going to choose to move forward from here.
The white hold on the left looks like it has nice friction on it,
Yeah,
on the side
yeah.
that's facing up. But he chose not to use that. But I guess you have to switch your foot before you get
Yeah,
onto
and
that.
looks like he wasn't quite in the position to move his feet yet. So from what I understand, it looks like he might want his right foot on that second volume, but I'm not quite sure how he'll figure out how to get there. So let's see.
Shaky start, but he's made it on.
So getting on that foothold, and
He's finally
Just-
found that little foot chip there.
just
on
the
that red
angle of that
hold.
chip being on that side of the volume, right? It really means you have to put a lot of pressure through your feet to be able to move.
Yes. It takes a lot to like stay with the wall
Yeah.
on these slab problems.
So Madan is now going to have to figure out how he can. So he's choosing to stand on top of that, and that looks like that might just work. It's going to require.
I think he
lot
went a
of
little
control.
bit too
Yeah.
fast there.
It's going to require a lot of control and a lot of trust in that right foot,
Yes.
which is just going to be on that, a little bit of a slippery part of the volume.
Is that a chalk bucket beside him?
Yeah, no, I'm not sure what that is actually.
Because I saw him reach into it, and I think it's like a bucket filled with chalk.
Could very well be a chalk
Yeah.
bucket. Yeah,
I
never
love it.
seen quite a literal chalk bucket before. So Madan now on his third attempt, he has managed to reach the zone, so he scored points for that. Now we're gonna have to see how he attempts to move his feet through this.
Didn't quite even make the
and
foot
that
swap
is
there.
time up for Madan, and Bharat
Great
Gowda
effort,
comes
though.
in now, aka the Beast.
Carrying his liquid chalk and chalk. Powdered chalk even.
Yeah. So Bharat is very good with his feet. So let's see how he chooses to approach this problem, because as a setter, I've seen him set some fantastic footwork on slabs. So I know he does enjoy a good slab. So let's see how he decides to do this route.
Again, if you missed our live stream from before, Bharat actually recently got married,
Yeah.
and so he's not even really been training much
Yeah. So
because he's been
Bharat-
busy with
yeah.
the wedding. But he's still looking very, very
Yeah,
strong. You would
absolutely
never know.
crushing it despite that. Oh, so Bharat's foot slipping off there on his first attempt, not quite figuring out how to move past that. So we can't actually see very well on that side of the volume. It looks like, from what I can see, that there is at least a single chip on that side of the volume, on the first red volume, that is. So Bharat gonna have to figure out how to move past. Yeah, this time really pulling on that left leg.
With so much ease.
Yeah. So again, struggling a little bit to reach the next hold and figure out
that's just
what to do with his
just out of
hips
his
here.
reach
Yeah.
there.
Oh, and a
Ooh,
smart
another
move from
foot
Bharat
slip.
going straight to that white hole might make a lot of sense actually. So I think slab is one thing for sure, right, where it seems like the time moves a lot faster because each attempt does take a considerably longer, because slab is so much more slow and controlled.
Yes.
It's not quite like these overhung routes where you want to go as fast
No.
as you can so that you can
Yes.
save that
So you really
energy.
need to keep in time.
Yeah, slab is a
in
lot
mind
about
how much time
moving
you have.
slowly, moving in a controlled way. So time does play a big role when it comes to this.
Yes. That also means you have less attempts that you can do within that time frame because you're moving so slowly. But you can't really afford to rush things
Yeah,
on
and
slab.
rushing things really, it doesn't work on a slab. So let's see what if Bharat decides to stick to his beta this attempt. So getting his right leg up and kicking out with the left leg,
Ooh.
but just
But
his
it moves
hips
his
coming
hips
out over there.
Away from the wall.
Looks like that might not work because it's going to be a little hard for him to, either he completely controls his backward movement just using his legs and his hips, because it doesn't quite look like he was in reach of that next handhold.
No, I think it's just out of his reach.
So let's see what
By
Bharat tries
millimeters.
now. So Bharat now on his fourth attempt. Yes, wow. And he really figures it out this attempt. Uses his hand on the bolt hole to balance himself and moves his left leg out and falls off.
Again, he was
while
trying to
moving.
use some of the bolts on the wall.
So these guys are using these bolt holes, like there are actually holes there. I don't know. But yeah, looks like he did kind of figure that out. And he did get awarded points for the zone on that attempt.
You can see with all his might him trying to make that next move.
Yeah. Again, using that bolt hole, getting his
Very
left
controlled.
leg out.
But not quite there.
Yeah, and just checking the time, because I think definitely he doesn't have a lot of time left.
Mhm.
He's got maybe one good attempt left and a minute left. So this attempt is a do or die. So he's either going to have to get the top on this, or so it's going to have to be real controlled, and he's going to have to really calm his nerves. Yeah, just using that bolt hole,
Which is nothing again.
getting his right foot up. Nice, really trusting his feet
Mhm.
there. And now, yeah, that was really controlled. So you could see how his hips didn't really move out. So he really found a good
Yes.
balance.
He has. Ooh,
And
and
Bharat
he has
getting the
made
zone.
it.
So this time he chose to move his right hand first
Mhm.
and then get the zone with his left hand.
He is literally using his finger
So he wants to
anchor
shift,
himself in
yeah.
that bolt.
Yes, wonderful. Oh, and he didn't quite, his
Mhm.
toe didn't quite reach.
Beautiful effort by Bharat.
Yeah, a great attempt, and he gets awarded the zone for that. Yeah, and you can just see him sucking his finger there, because that bolt hole was probably pretty sharp.
It probably was. It's literally just a wooden hole
Yeah,
in the
so,
wall.
so let's hope he didn't get a cut there, because that will
Mhm.
definitely affect him in the
Yes.
in the
Up
next
next
boulder.
is Vishak.
From girls,
Yeah.
Vishal from men.
So let's see now how Vishak does on the slab. Vishak is generally a very power-oriented climber, so
He is.
slab may not suit him, but he has every chance of reaching the top. So let's see what happens here with
Mhm.
Vishak.
All about technique.
Yeah, and nice. And Vishak moving through the initial part, going for the zone now. And
Very slow.
and
seems to be hesitating a bit.
Yeah, adjusting a little bit, trying to figure out
And
how he
again,
can go there.
as soon as your hips move away from the wall, I think it's over for you in slab.
Yeah,
But it's very hard to do that.
Yeah, you've got to maintain that point of balance,
Mhm.
throughout. It's not so easy to control that. And the holes being so small, you can't rely so much on your fingers. But yeah, when you have fingers that are that strong, it is definitely easier.
Vishak taking his time and considering how best to complete this route.
So going for his second attempt now. And Vishak eyeing the zone very clearly. But not quite
Again, not
giving
quite.
enough time to figure out his right leg. So let's see if he decides to change his beta or
Mhm.
decides
A quick
to
look back at the clock to check how much time he's got left.
Yeah, so Vishak now on his third attempt. Looking pretty focused on getting the zone from
Mhm.
Vishak. That looks like he has that goal
Yes.
in mind. And
So
we do-
far,
yeah,
I think all of the climbers have just been trying to get the zone because it's proving to be quite a difficult.
yeah. So Vishak just rushing into
Way
it a
there.
little bit, so not quite getting the balance. Like we've mentioned, slab really
Mhm.
is a lot about taking your time.
Yes, it is.
And
And from this distance, you can see just how small those crimps are
yeah,
that they're trying to put their hands on. Not a lot of surface.
so looks like once the climbers can get to that white hole and kind of move their feet towards the right, it looks like the route would be a lot easier from there. It's this initial part which is the crux of the route.
Mm-hmm.
So Vishak kind of moving
Standing
his right
further
leg
up.
trying to figure that out, but not quite finding a placement for his right leg, kind of searching for a good place to have a counter pulling effect so that he can reach that zone
Mhm.
hold. So no top so far on the third boulder, but we do have
Not quite yet.
two climbers left to go.
Yes. You would think from just looking at slab and the angle and the roots that slab would be the easiest part of climbing.
Yeah.
But it's so technique based and it's so precarious. You have to take your time, and it's not just based on strength. You can't just power through it.
And especially in this, competition scenario, you have only 4 minutes to figure it out. So you really have to be calm, to be balanced.
You can't let your previous attempts demotivate you.
Yeah. So Vishak going again for the zone, this time placing his right foot.
And it's not
Yeah.
just about getting the top every time.
Yeah. And I think one difference right now you can see is that Vishak did look at his right foot before he moved it, and that did make a difference. I think before he was kind of going for the next hole without properly taking time to see where he could put his right foot.
But he's slowly figuring the beta out. Will he have enough time to actually complete it?
Yeah. So now there's just a minute left. So this is effectively Vishak's
Yes, I think
last
he's
attempt.
also like tiring himself out a little bit.
Yeah. I think slabs really hit you mentally more than anything
Ooh,
else.
tried the same
Yeah,
beta
trying
as
Bharat's
Bharat.
beta, and I
but
think
didn't
he
quite
kind of
make it.
sensed that it could work, but maybe not enough time now to make it happen. So Vishak not quite able to reach the zone yet, so that might affect his points, but we still have some climbers left to come. So let's see how they fare.
Again, very strong performance by Vishak. On route number 3 here at the Boulder Men's Final in the South Zone Sport Climbing Competition.
Yeah, and Nikhil out now. So we, I made a mistake earlier. We have 3 climbers left.
Rakshita from girl.
So I've not quite seen Nikhil on a lot of slabs, so it's going to be interesting to see how he does now.
From men.
One of our youngest climbers, as we mentioned before,
Yeah,
but very, very
this
strong.
is his first year in the men's category. So trying to get that left foot out, but I think the angle of his right foot is a little bit
Yes.
outwards. So yeah, having
And
to
he's
just
made it.
twist inwards there, but he manages to make it work pretty well. But his hips are a little bit to the right. He's gonna have to move a long way, but
And he's done it.
again
Ooh, not
making
quite.
it work, but
Uh-huh.
losing his balance in the last moment.
Again, here we can see that like it's a bit more of a crouchy
Yeah,
move,
yeah,
and
and
because
I
he's a
think, yeah,
taller person.
Definitely his height is, it means his hips have a longer way to go when he is moving around. But yeah, making it work, and let's see what he does for his second attempt. Yeah, so Nikhil on his second attempt now. Again, really
Very.
dropping
He
his leg
uses
there.
that
Yeah,
drop knee so well.
moving his.
That's so hard to do on a slab
Through-
route when
yeah,
your
yeah.
body needs to be in a very certain position, otherwise you'll fall off.
So looks like he might just be able to reach the zone from here, but it might just be out of his reach as well. Really pushing on that right thumb to try and stay close to the wall. But
Trying to
looks like-
find some support on his left, but
Yeah, looks
he's
like it's just
unable
out of his
to.
reach, and
too far.
yeah, it's going to be hard to go for it like that because he's going to get a big, what you would call a barn door out to that side.
What is a
so-
barn door for those of us that don't know?
So you saw like when he was going out with his left hand and his right leg and the entire right side of his body just started to swing out like a door.
Just like a
slowly.
door.
Yeah, so
What a good metaphor for that.
yeah, so he's really got to, if he doesn't want that barn door, he's probably got to do what Bharat did and move his leg onto that white hold, onto the white volume. That would make sense in controlling his barn door, but he's got to have really good balance and controlled footwork to get his left leg onto that hold. So let's see what he tries this time. So not looking too confident on the footholds.
No.
He's looking down to check and see. not quite figured out exactly
You can see
how
how
he'll
much
go.
effort it's taking for him to like keep his hips to the wall.
Yeah. Really pushing hard on that right leg and going a little bit in a less controlled manner to the next hold. And that's not something which you can just grab, and
Mm-hmm.
hold on to. So ideally it's got to be controlled. So let's see.
Absolutely.
Let's see how he decides to go for it next.
The weather's calmed down a little bit here.
Yeah, thankfully no rain. Yeah.
No, it was raining quite heavily in the morning, especially when the men had their boulder qualifications. And that, I think, complicated matters for a lot of people. But we're here now. It has simmered down. The mats are dry, shoes are dry. It's looking good.
So now Nikhil trying to figure this out. Again, eyeing the zone hole, looking like he wants to go there. Taking a small look down for his right leg, and yeah, he's really got to look.
I think
at-
he's rushing the last move where he's trying to like reach out for the left side.
The thing is, you do want to be able to see where your leg is going, but that whole even the movement of turning your head from one side to the other does very briefly push your hips out a little. So as much as, especially on a slab, you really want to see where your feet are going and you really want that to happen.
Yes.
It is not that easy to even turn your head to the other side because
No.
you're staying as close to the wall as possible. As you can see, he's sticking as close as he can, but it is not easy for him to.
It's hard, and that foot, the chip
so
on the red
Nikhil
hold
kind
that
of
he had his
going-
foot on,
Yeah,
it is hard to balance on that.
Yeah, looks like right now he's kind of attempting a toe hook on that black volume and kind of falling onto the next hold. So it could work, but so far doesn't seem like it's worked for him quite yet. And you can see a tiring in his legs, a little bit of
You
a
can see a
shake.
shake.
And that happens on a
Elvis
slab.
effect.
Yeah, a good fight from Nikhil overall.
Yes, very good fight.
Yeah, and he still has
Especially
another.
that drop knee.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not easy to do.
There's another boulder to go, and now we have Baba here, and he is good with slab and really good with his feet and delicate footwork and with his hips. So let's see how he fares in this. But yeah, I do think that this might be a good boulder for him.
Yes. I actually haven't seen Baba climb a lot of slab routes.
Yeah.
But he's a
Yeah,
very
and
strong
as you
climber
can
with
see,
a
his
beautiful
hips move
technique.
so comfortably through this.
And yep.
So trying a similar beta to Nikhil. So trying that toe hook again. So I'm not sure if he's going to try that again, but it looks like he's thinking about whether or not that's the right beta. I think he might give it another go. Let's see what he decides. Whoa, so Baba.
Expert.
Yeah. Just looks so comfortable on small
I think he's
footholds,
going to try it again. The
Very
swing outwards.
Little hesitation on his
Oh, he's
feet.
going to bump.
Yeah,
Yep.
so he
and
tries.
he has it.
Oh, so beautifully done by Baba. You can just see the control in
You
his
can see the
footwork.
confidence as well.
Yeah.
He knew he had it.
So
Ooh.
I think he definitely has that down. He just has to figure out now how to get his right foot a little closer. And I think he definitely can figure that out because, he got that on his first go. And you could just see the control in his movement.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to watch. Oh, you can just see how much he trusts his feet in different angles and different positions. That comes with experience for sure. So now thinking whether he should move his right leg first, but
He had a
just
foot slip
little
on the
slip
right.
there. And I hope he didn't hit his shin anywhere, but just brushing that hold.
Whenever a foot slips, it's not the competitor. It's always how much chalk there's on the hold. That's what I tell myself anyway.
Now let's see what
You can
Baba
see how
does.
much control he has over those feet.
Yeah, for sure. There he goes. And now kind of using that
Ooh.
support on his left hand. Oh, beautiful. What a
again, not
move by
quite.
Baba. And now
Yes.
it's interesting to see whether he's going to go for that again and move his right leg first or whether he's going to go with his left hand first.
Absolutely.
So
That was
that's-
such a cool move though. Is there a name for
Yeah.
it?
I wouldn't know.
So yeah, as we said, we can use any body part to finish the climb.
Yeah, so how he's
Even if you
using
use your own
just
body as a hold.
yeah. So just a slight little rock. Oh, and he uses the bolt
shoving his
hole.
finger
How?
into the bolts.
That is incredible. This is some incredible climbing by Baba.
Mhm.
Look at the way he's using those bolt holes to
That's
climb
literally
up.
negative space.
So Baba has a real good chance here of sending this route. He's got to make a jump, looks like, to that next hold. And I'm
Using
not
the
quite sure, but
bolts.
wow, this is incredible. He goes up
He's-
statically using the bolt holes to stand up.
And he's mashed. He's done
Incredible
it.
top by Baba here. And he's
And he knows
showing
he's
us
done something
why
so
he is the
impressive.
bouldering champion.
Yes.
Wow. I have
I'm
no
in
words.
shock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was incredible to watch. And he can't believe it himself.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I think
but
you could see even as he was using the bolts, he was
Yeah.
like, "This is working.
yeah, and
This is
a
working."
Yeah, and a flash of the last route, and he climbed this one so well.
Mhm.
So Baba's put himself in a really good position now to take first place here.
Yes, I am excited for people to see the last route.
Yeah,
We saw a glimpse of it right there.
yeah.
It looks unforgiving. So
So now, if Loki can climb this route as well, it'll give Baba good competition for the
Yes.
first place. But if he's not able to climb it, Baba is in a good position to take first place
Mhm.
here.
So only 3 out of our 7 finalists, 6 finalists, I think.
Yeah,
6 finalists will make it on to the nationals that
Yeah.
are happening later on this month in Bangalore itself, 21st to 24th of December, right before Christmas. A Christmas treat.
So Loki there. So one smart thing that Baba did was starting off with but Loki looking confident on his feet so far,
Mm-hmm.
but he definitely will have less of a reach. So Loki
You can see he's struggling to keep his hips to the wall there.
getting his right foot up there. Looks like he's trusting that slippery edge of the volume, and wow,
And he's
Loki
gone his
looking
right
controlled here,
leg
but I'm
up.
not quite sure how he would move from that position.
Not quite.
So Loki has to figure out a good beta here for this route, and that seems to be one of the challenges of this route. Is it's taken competitors a while to figure out the right beta.
Mm-hmm. He looks confident. He was like, "Oh, that's what I got to do." Did you see that?
Yeah. Let's see now if he decides to change it up or if he continues with the same thing. So let's see what Loki decides to do. But I think Baba, what really worked for him is he tried a few
The
different
bolts.
betas, and then he stuck with it, and he climbed absolutely confidently and made his way through. So let's see if Loki can do the same thing here.
Very confidently moving.
So shifting that weight to his left leg and standing on that left leg, but
Ooh, didn't quite work.
but then he would,
I think he was trying to get his right leg up to the top of that hold.
That would be difficult because he would have to fall on that tiny little hold, and that would be quite
Yeah.
difficult for him.
That kind of looked like a ballerina move.
Yeah. So Loki is looking comfortable with his feet, but he hasn't quite figured out what the right beta is to do this. So let's see. Loki really did. Oh!
Ooh.
Yeah, I was just going to say he figured out
Yes.
a very unique way to do the last route.
Mhm.
Let's see if he can do the same with this.
As commentators, it's so hard not to just scream out when something like that
Yeah.
happens.
I mean,
I'm really fighting the urge. But I think people in the crowd are doing plenty for us.
Yeah,
They are
yeah.
hyped.
and I guess this men's bouldering is something that people have been waiting for because
Mhm.
the competition is tight.
Yes. It certainly seems like the main event of the evening.
Oh, so
I think
Loki-
he's not going
yeah.
very slow.
Yeah,
there.
so Loki trying that same beat as last time, but not quite not quite getting his feet to move the same way. So it's still, I really hope he can make this beta work. But going to that hold in a dynamic manner is definitely not, you would say, the most
Mhm.
ideal way. But if anybody can do it, why not Loki?
Yes, he's a very experienced climber.
Yeah, and Loki is, if not anything, a very hard worker.
Absolutely.
And for those of you who don't know, he is actually the elected athlete representative. So something, and he has put in a lot of work, this
he
zonals,
really has.
to
And
make
like,
sure the competition is the best
Mhm.
possible way it could be.
I met him a lot leading up to this competition, and I remember I was like, "Are you gonna be climbing today?" And he'd be like, "No, today's a rest day," and he'd be doing like 1,700
Yeah,
things
so much
on his rest
logistical
days.
work. Yeah.
So really,
Yeah.
the most experienced, hardworking climber.
Yeah, and we definitely have Loki to thank for this live stream as well. Like, he has put in a lot of effort to make this happen.
Mhm.
And this is the first ever live stream actually of a
Yes.
zonals. So
So thank you for having us. I'm Lani. Beside me is Nikhil.
yeah.
And we are your commentators.
Yeah, it's
for
been a
the
pleasure to
evening.
watch them climb.
Mhm.
So Loki has a minute now left, and he's not quite figured out yet. He's not found a beta that has worked for him to move to that next hold, and he's trying something else now. So you can see that there is some confusion as he's not quite found a method that works yet. So he's kind of still in that experimenting phase, and sometimes it just boils down to luck. You know, you
Mhm.
try something and it really works out well.
And he's still trying to go for that move pretty dynamically,
So
I
now
think.
it looks like yeah. So Loki looking at the clock and the
And
time's
that's
up.
his time up.
So
Beautiful effort by Loki, though.
so and you really see like what an incredible climb from Baba.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean like he really did make that look a lot easier than it should have. Yeah, but that's
He
Baba
did.
for you. Yeah, whenever he climbs, he makes things look easy.
He makes them look so easy.
Yeah.
Like those bolt holds.
There is this kind of nonchalance in his climbing,
Yeah.
you know, the way he moves up things. It doesn't look like he's really trying too hard.
And it looks like he doesn't take anything too
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
And it's just a joy to watch.
Yeah, and I think that makes so much of a difference for him, like
Mhm.
in his climbing, in the way he's able to commit to movements. You know, I remember Baba telling me this a while back that his competitions always go well, and there's always green lights all the way up till when he's driving there. You
Mhm.
know, he'll be coming on his scooter, and it's
It's
always
like good
just
omens all the way
yeah,
up to the competition.
it's always just green lights, and
Uh-huh.
if there are no green lights, he knows that it might not be a good comp. But
Oh, okay. Has he ever had a bad comp?
hard to say. I mean, if you watched him climb, like, you know, it's always great to see him climb.
Mhm. Always a pleasure.
Yeah. So now pretty clearly here, unless there are some upsets in the last boulder, we have Baba in first place and Loki in second place. So we're going to see what happens. And third place is still in contention because I'm not exactly
Mhm.
sure about who currently is placed in third. But this last boulder is going to be important. So let's
Yes,
see.
very important.
Yeah.
You can see a bit of it right now. It's the route that starts with the orange holds and ends with the purple.
Yeah, looks like an interesting route
There
for
are
sure.
no feet.
Yeah.
And I'm very concerned about that.
Yeah, those top moves look tricky for sure, but you know our climbers might come in and make it look incredibly easy.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have to see. Yeah, so we are just going to come back when the athletes get back on the mat. Yeah, so we are back with our fourth boulder now, and we have the first climber Madan, who is just coming to
Mhm.
give it a go.
We could see during the observation period that happened not too long ago that This was the one that the climbers were most concerned about. They were
Yeah.
the most confused about. They were exchanging beta amongst themselves.
So just a
We
little
seem
technical
to
difficulty
be having a
here.
technical difficulty there. But Madan has just started his first attempt.
Yeah, and he's getting his feet on, and Madan falls on his first attempt. Not quite able to reach the first hold.
And we're back. He did fall on his first attempt. But this route, as I mentioned before, looks pretty unforgiving.
Yeah, yeah. That
Where are the feet supposed to go?
yeah, that hole just before the purple section, it looks completely downturned. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see how, because when I look at this route, I'm finding it hard to imagine how a climber would actually climb.
Yeah.
So where it's going to be interesting to see how these guys figure this out. And those holes don't look great too. They look like a couple of slopers on what looks like, at least the left side looks quite overhung. Then it kind of goes
Are the
into a
purple
more,
ones more dual texy?
yeah, you can see the shiny bits of the hole.
Mhm.
So Madan's taking a little bit of time to think about how to go about this. Even he seems a little confused. Let's see. Going with his right, that's not quite working. Looks like it's a little bit of a committing move. He wants, so he gets it. He gets it with his left hand.
A nice big pinch there on the left.
Yeah.
He's made it up to the right.
So he is now into the route, and this looks like the crux section to me, and kind of a guppy hold.
Yes, that sloper looks awful.
So not the best hold at all, and a little confusing. But I think the guppy maybe is the way to go. So yeah,
you can
so
see him pushing
Madan
with
kind of
all his
now-
might with his left leg.
So Madan now kind of stemming up into the climb, and that looks like that might actually work.
Mm-hmm.
So if he kind of pushes off that hold and mantles up, maybe he can stand up. But it's hard to say if that's really the way to do it. You know, unfortunately, we haven't really had a conversation with the route setters about how they thought that the climber would climb it. But I'm sure that they have some idea of
Yes.
how they want the climber or intended the climber to climb it.
They are pretty challenging though today.
Yeah, so Madan just getting the holes brushed a little bit before his third attempt. So definitely this route looks like it takes some energy out of you, and Madan just
Yes.
shaking out his hands.
Checking the time to see how much he can afford to rest. Look back at the crowd for reassurance.
Yeah, so now chalking up for his third attempt.
A little chalk dip into the chalk bucket, as we
Yeah.
like to call it,
The literal chalk bucket.
which is blocked from view right now, sadly.
So Madan working his way, left hand up, right hand and his feet cut loose, working his
He's got
legs
this part
up.
down.
Yeah. And his foot up. So now kind of, I think, yeah, he's trying the same beta. Mantling his way up, trying to stand up on that left leg.
That's
And
amazing.
It's hard to
Ooh.
see. Wow, and quite a fall there from
Yeah.
Madan. Rolls over a few times. Not an easy move. And I'm still finding it
Scary
a
as
little,
well, I would
finding a
assume.
little hard to imagine that move in my head.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And Madan deciding to walk off on the last boulder, which means that he thought it's quite difficult because, you know, at this point he has nothing left to lose. He has nothing. Yeah. Otherwise, climbers do tend to walk off if they feel they can save skin because
For the coming
especially on
boulders.
slopers, you do lose skin really quickly. But looks like Madan decided that he didn't want to try it anymore. So
It was looking very physically taxing.
yeah.
And I don't think that first purple hold with the zone on it has a lot of grip to it.
Yeah.
So it would be very hard to go over there,
And
especially in the dynamic way the way
Yeah,
that he
so-
was trying it.
so Bharat Beast in next,
Mhm.
and let's see how he does this.
Very respected climber in the community.
So Bharat is actually very popularly known as one of the strongest outdoor climbers around.
Mm-hmm.
So he has opened up a lot of really hard lines around Bangalore. And I think the competition for him is more of just a fun challenge.
Yes.
So Bharat
Ooh,
sticking
holds on to that.
right hand. Let's see how he chooses to do this. I think the climbers have discussed, and this beta seems to be the way to go. Bharat trying the heel, but then deciding that it's
Goes
not
for that
working.
same.
Looks like a kind of
knee
knee bar that
mantle
he's
up.
got
Yeah.
into, but looks like a pretty precarious position to get out of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to reach for the next hold.
Yeah,
from
so
that
I do
position.
know that Bharat has had quite a lot of issues with his ankle in the past. So, and that move on the mantle does look like it puts a lot of pressure on that ankle. So let's see. Maybe that's why he thought maybe the heel might work. But
Mhm.
let's see how he decides to move forward with this. Again, Bharat using liquid chalk to kind of take some time and think about it and calm his nerves.
What do you think is the next move? Because I'm finding it very hard to imagine what it would be.
From what it looks like, and from what it looks like the climbers are attempting, they want to really get up on that left leg
Mm-hmm.
and get that right hand really straight as a mantle, and maybe some kind of a throw, but it's hard for me to say because I'm really not sure at this point. You know, I could be wrong, so we're gonna have to see. So Bharat not going with his left hand here and bumping his hand, but it seems to be working for him.
He's going very slow and controlled.
Yeah, so now let's see how he decides to go about this. So the same beta, again he's locking, he's getting a knee jam in there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Just pushing
looking
all
to
of his weight
push
up.
But how is he going to get his knee out? So Bharat with a
Ooh.
committing fall there.
Athletes taking very hard falls on this
Yeah.
route.
A little thumbs up and a little frustration there from Bharat.
Mhm.
Not able to quite figure out that next move.
It's also a fall from quite a height.
Yeah. So Bharat's really got to take some time here and calm himself down and really focus on his next attempt. I think by now he looks quite committed to his beta. He looks
Mhm.
like he's decided that that's the way for him to go. So going for a knee bar. Yeah, so just taking a little bit of a rest. This could be one of his last attempts. So Bharat just inspecting the holes here,
Mhm.
seeing if there is
Looking a
any
little bit confused.
other way to do this.
Hyping up the crowd.
Bharat rousing the crowd up here, and that's really great to see because you need that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And
For the extra kick of adrenaline
nothing
as well.
like a little bit of crowd support, right? So Bharat really pushing into it, trying hard here.
It's a
Getting
very
both
risky
of his
move.
hands, hoping for the throw
And
and falls
not
off.
quite.
So he's not quite.
That was his last attempt. Was
so
Bharat,
a little
the beast.
ode to the crowd there
Mm-hmm.
as he walks off after the last boulder.
That was
So
route number 4.
a good performance and a good performance by Bharat
On all
there.
fronts.
Yeah, and always fun to watch him climb.
Absolutely.
Generally a very playful character is Bharat.
Mm-hmm.
So those cheers you're hearing are for our junior girls participant Adya, who is just about to reach the top.
Crushing it on this
and,
route.
falls
Ooh.
just.
Misses the top by millimeters.
So Adya walking off too, and we are waiting for the next climber to come to our 4th boulder, and Vishak is just
Vishak?
walking out.
Looking out at the crowd for some reassurance. I think this is very well suited to his style.
Yeah.
It's very power-based.
Let's see how Vishak
climb.
does on this. Vishak has a real good chance if he sends this boulder. Oh, and that's
Oh,
his
and he slips
slip
off
on his first attempt.
on the
but
first hold.
I think on this boulder, he's really going to be looking for a top. Another slip, and that foothold is turned downwards.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to have to figure out a way to put the right pressure on his foot so it doesn't fall down. And cleverly set there by the route setters. So as you stretch upwards, that pressure on your foot kind of gets lesser. Thus the slip. So Vishak having a little bit of difficulty reaching the first move, but I'm sure once he figures that out,
Yes, and
Should be smooth
he
sailing from
seems to
there.
have figured it out.
Yeah.
There you go.
yeah. Yeah.
That
Vishak.
sloper looks unforgiving.
So Vishak getting into the kind of getting a guppy around it and
Mhm.
slipping.
What is a guppy? I've heard you use that term before.
So if you can see the way his wrist and his hands are bent
Mm-hmm.
to hold the hold kind of in that unique way,
Okay.
that's known as a guppy.
Almost upside down. I would
Yeah,
say.
so kind of your fingers pointed back down towards your forearm,
Mm-hmm.
parallel. So
Giving all the holes a nice
yeah.
brush.
So Vishak just having a little think here before he goes for his next attempt. Vishak now for his next attempt. Getting on these first moves now pretty comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the crux part of the route. So Vishak not quite able to get his hips up so much.
No. Again, it's very hard to say like
Yeah.
what the next move even should be,
Yeah.
or if they should be trying new beta.
It's not an easy route for sure. So Vishak again thinking about what his next move here is, because whatever he's been trying so far has seemed
Mhm.
like it's not quite working out. So but in the end it falls down to these micro adjustments, you know.
Yes.
These small little adjustments that you might make a world of difference when
Mhm.
it comes to climbing at this level.
So he has 4 minutes for as many attempts as he wants. He will be trying to get as close to the zone as
So
possible.
Vishak this time trying to get his hips up first before he
And
gets
that
his
doesn't
hand.
work either.
So now a little bit of, you can see a little bit of frustration trying out
Mhm.
different things, and it's going to be interesting to see whether he tries the same method or whether he goes back to his other one, because I think this is the point where you're really tested as a climber, you know, when you've been trying something for a while and
Mhm.
it doesn't seem to be working. How do you maintain your nerves at that point? How do
Absolutely.
you stay calm?
Especially because this is the last boulder
Yeah, the stakes are
of the
high,
competition.
yeah.
And now I think the athletes behind the scenes would have already been comparing how many attempts they've had,
yeah.
how many attempts the others have had, trying to figure out who has a
Yeah,
chance
so-
of like
so I think
ranking.
definitely by the gauging from the crowd,
Mm-hmm.
the athletes inside must know that there haven't really been any sends yet
Yeah.
on this boulder, so they know it's a hard one, and I'm sure they knew that in the observation period as well. The question is whether any of our athletes are going to be able to send it,
Mm-hmm.
and Vishak trying the same beat as he did before, and it seems to be
And
working,
his hand
but a
slips right
slip-
off that
but
sloper.
that was very positive for Vishak. That looked like that might really work for him.
Mm-hmm.
So trying something out and it worked. This is a good process from Vishak. So now he's going to want to get his hips up and get his right hand in the best possible position to push up so that he can stand up onto that foothold.
He seems to have this down pretty well by now. This section.
So again getting his hips up and pushing hard on that left hand,
Not
but
quite.
not quite able to hold that body tension to stay in that position. And Vishak walking off after a good fight.
Very good fight. Very taxing boulder.
Yeah. But they're going to give it their all because it is the last boulder of today.
Yes. Up
And-
next, we have Nikhil.
Yeah. And the last climb of the nationals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Nikhil just getting into this. I think he just slipped on his first attempt. Yeah, so using his height as an advantage there, going straight for that second hold. Yeah, so looks like they've all discussed pretty much the same beta here. Getting his left leg up and looking to push into it, trying the heel as well. So not quite able to...
Jam his heel in there.
Yeah, not quite able to transfer himself up.
Mm-hmm. Again, that rightmost orange hold, the sloper doesn't have to seem to have any kind of friction whatsoever.
Yeah, that looks terrible, honestly. So there are 2 climbers left to go after this, after which we will get our results. So Nikhil comfortably into the first move. And let's see if he can figure out how to do this on this attempt.
Mm-hmm.
So looking like he wants to try something else out, but
That's a
not-
very awkward angle for his heel
Yeah.
to be lodged in.
Yeah, I think that heel definitely would be difficult to make that work. So again, a little bit of frustration here. So he's gonna have to decide if he
Mhm.
wants to stick to the beta he has in mind or if he wants to try something else. Because
All
he-
4 routes, I think, have been pretty challenging,
yeah,
but in the
yeah.
best way. And our athletes have given a really good fight.
Yeah, good fights all around.
Mm-hmm.
So Nikhil going in for his next attempt. And getting that left leg up now. Again, a little bit of hesitation here, or he's not able to really decide what it is to do.
Yeah, there you go. He's got his knee in
Again,
there.
He's found a knee bar very similar to Bharat and standing up on that and looking like he's getting himself.
Not quite.
I think for a moment there he really did
Yes.
look solid, but
And he does have the height for it to
yeah,
just
but it
be able
would
to
be
reach
hard
out.
to get out of that knee bar to
Mm.
kind of get yourself to those next holes. So a challenge here for Nikhil to figure this out now. Now he has to make that decision about what beta he wants to try. But I'm guessing since his last attempt seemed the closest out of all,
Mm-hmm.
he might just give that another go. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yes, I think any other beta over there seems too risky for him. So he's
Yeah.
just trying the same thing over and over again. Because it is a very precarious position. Any way you see it.
Yeah, trying that knee bar again. So going with what's worked for him
Mm-hmm.
and getting his right leg up as high as he can, but that's kind of pushing him out at the same time.
Nikhil on his last few attempts. His time is almost up.
Of course, it's like, it's so easy to get frustrated in such a
Mhm.
situation, and seeing some level of calmness and seeing his effort every attempt, it's good to see.
Absolutely.
'Cause
Most of sports is just the mental game, isn't it?
yeah, it's
How you handle,
big deal,
how you
yeah.
choose to move forward.
And he looks tired for sure.
And I think that was it
And
from
choosing to
Nikhil.
walk off here. And
He fought a good fight.
yeah, it's been great. It's been great to see him climb.
The next,
As we were saying earlier, he is the youngest contestant
from
Yeah.
to make it to the men's finals.
and Bharat Pereira from men.
Yeah, and we have Baba stepping out now. So let's see how he does on this route, because so far, the way he's been climbing, he's been making climbs look easy, even
Yes.
when the other athletes are struggling on it. So it's going to be interesting to see how he deals with this one.
We saw an insane bolt hold.
Yeah, bolt,
Thing
hold,
that he did.
hold. Yeah.
I don't know what he did. He just jammed his fingers into like the little holes in the walls and he made himself
Yeah.
climb that slab route.
What a sight to see that was.
I got way too excited.
Yeah. And straight into it.
Straight into the second hold. Skipped that other
And
hold.
again, looking confident in his movements.
I think all of the climbers had discussed
Yeah,
this
so-
beta because everyone's been trying the
So
same
Baba
thing.
trying the knee bar as well and slipping. Looks like in the last minute he kind of changed his mind. So it's going to be interesting to see if he tries something else or if he sticks with the same beta.
Little bit of a rethink.
Yeah, so Baba in for his second attempt now. Trying something else here, going with the left hand but changing his mind in the last minute. Baba
Once again,
standing
using the
up
wall,
on
but
that,
not quite.
Yeah. So he's sticking with that knee bar and trying to stand up as high as he can on that.
Mm-hmm.
So So again, Baba now on his
Bharat.
third attempt.
Third attempt. Will he make it past the crux of this
Going
route?
looks like he's going straight for the next
Ooh,
hole.
not quite. He did make it there, but it's a hard thing to
Yeah,
pinch.
so looks like Baba's a little unsure if he can make that other beta work. So just trying something else out. Looked like more of an experiment, just seeing whether that was possible or not. And now looks like he is again trying another way.
Ooh, didn't quite commit to that move
not,
there.
Not quite able to commit, like you said, to that
Mm-hmm.
move.
I think that hold is filled with a lot of grime, so he's telling the
Yeah.
chalk brushers exactly what to brush. You can see the grime on that hold, and it's a
Yeah.
lot.
So definitely you can see this route is not easy at all. And Baba moving quickly through the first moves now.
Mm-hmm.
And going
Ooh.
for a big jump. That definitely will not be easy. But if he can make it work, it will definitely be incredible. Yeah, going in for his next attempt. So let's see what he tries here, because again his foot slipping, because that part of the hole looks
It looks shiny,
yeah.
which we all know.
Again going for
gonna
the
be very,
it's
very
look like-
hard.
yeah, it looks like he's committed to this beta now, and that's one thing you can tell by his experience. You know, once he decides he wants to try something, he will
Yep.
continue to try that. And
And he's
change-
getting closer every time, I
Yeah,
think.
Yeah, and the thing about changing your beta every attempt, it does make you more confused generally, and generally you commit lesser when you are unsure of what you even want to do. So Baba's experience really showing here, like
Yes. You can see just how many feet have slipped on that hold by the streaks on it.
yeah. So let's see now what he decides to do. Still going with the same, trying to use a bolt hole as a foot. He's already used it for his hands. Again, Baba trying the other beta again. Yeah, but not quite able to stand up into it. So not an easy route, that's for sure.
Yes. Although Bharat is in a very good position,
Yeah.
I think that he has topped out 2 of the 3 routes. 2 out of 4 routes so far.
Yeah.
So, and he has
Yeah,
signaled that
so
he has done
Baba,
what a performance
What
throughout
an-
this competition by Bharat. He has definitely made it through to the finals.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to watch.
Hmm.
Will be Arushi Bhave from
This is our last contestant for the men's boulder finals. This is Lokesh Rajan.
Yeah, so let's see if Loki is able to make this work.
Mhm.
So if he can make this work, it's going to be a tough fight for the first place.
Yes. We over here affectionately call him Loki.
Yeah, but Baba did get a flash of that second route, and that did put him in a really good position.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah,
And then Loki broke all betas on that route.
yeah, that is crazy to watch. Loki here slipping on the first move, a little foot slip.
You can see that just how like slimy the holes have gotten
Yeah,
since the first climber climbed on it.
yeah. Loki just thinking now whether he wants to go to the second hold. Let's see what he decides to do. Looks like he's eyeing that second hold, but in the last minute decides to go to the first. Grabs it, but gets thrown off. So this is where you can definitely see how height plays a role.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the taller climbers were able to reach that second hold
Yes.
a lot easier. For Loki, it would be quite the jump, that's for sure. And
Yeah, it's not just a static move for him.
yeah, but making it
Yep.
work and finding it easier to get his leg up over there.
Going
So
straight for the sloper.
let's see what Loki is able to figure out for this route. Again, in that same place where he's trying to figure something out.
And
making
here,
that heel look,
yes, where
not
Nikhil was
so
unable
bad,
to put
yeah.
his heel when he tried.
but still a
Mhm.
really
Not
tough
quite enough.
move to figure out. A little bit of a looks like something on his hamstring over
Mhm.
there. I guess for that left heel.
But you can see he's not ready to waste any time. He never took his eyes off the route. He's still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, Loki getting back on the wall for his third attempt, I think. Taking a little bit of time to think about it.
Quick look back at the clock.
Yeah, let's see what or how he can possibly make this work.
Mm-hmm. Nobody has even reached a zone on this route. So even if Loki reaches that zone, he will be in the running.
So Loki again trying
To
to
rank
figure
first.
out how to go about this. Not quite sure, a little bit of hesitation about what exactly to do. And again, he's not quite sure about how exactly to do the move. And that just shows you how difficult that move might be.
Mm-hmm.
It, the climbers seem quite confused about how they should go about climbing the route.
I think he also touched one of the bowls to see if he could use that.
Yeah, just seeing if it's a viable foothold. So Loki is our last climber actually, and his climb right now is going to really decide what the podium looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Taking his time.
But I think at least first and second position are pretty clear.
Yeah,
I
Loki
think.
and Baba.
Yes.
Definitely the only two climbers with the top today
Mm-hmm.
in this finals. So that third place is going to be interesting to see based on the judges who is into the nationals.
Mm-hmm.
So getting into the move. Let's see if this time has decided how to try this. Oh, and really goes for the jump.
Yeah.
Not too far, but still seems
That's a scary
quite
fall.
far. Yeah. Yeah, we've seen some very scary looking falls.
Mm-hmm.
on this last boulder.
Loki now on his last few attempts.
So let's see if he can make it work. Yeah, Loki using the bolt hole there but getting thrown off. Yeah,
And
Loki
that was his last
signing
attempt.
out. And
Beautiful performance by
yeah.
Loki and all of our athletes. He was the last one up for the men's boulder finals
yeah,
here.
What an incredible performance.
We are done with the junior girls.
Yeah. So
We are done.
that is a wrap for our finals, and
Mhm.
we
We
will
will
get we will get back to you with the results.
Yes. We'll be back in just a bit with all the results. Thank you for joining us on this stream. I am Lani, and with me is Nikhil Fernandez.
It's been a pleasure, Lani.
Next competition
Yes, it absolutely has.